What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined by the one, the only, Dilly Vanilli. We are here to review the Detroit Lions versus the New York Giants on Monday Night Football, week number 2. It's September the 18th, 2017. Right now, at this moment, let us know in the live chat what you guys think about this game. I think there's quite a bit to talk about, even though it was a relatively boring game, specifically on the side of the loser, the New York Giants. There's quite a few things that we need to discuss, including their quarterback, Eli Manning. I'm going to say it. It's in the title. The dude is done. He's done. D-O-N. Done. Okay?
T-O-N.
I'm going to be spelling out a lot of things because I tweeted this today. Aaron Rodgers, as Dylan likes to say, always says relax, right? Yes. R-E-L-A-X. Well, I tweeted this today that Eli Manning should R-E-T-I-R-E, retire. Eli Manning is done. He can't throw past 10 yards.
True.
When he does, it's behind his target. He can't avoid the rush. His offensive line is garbage. If he wants to get himself hurt, a good way of getting himself hurt as an old man is to continue to play. Retire, you're done. Okay? Eli is done. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. As his biggest hater, I'm enjoying this. But as an analyst, I see it as, man, this guy's not good anymore. Like, I'm looking at him making plays, and I get it. His offensive line is terrible. In the words of Charles Barkley, terrible. But he has to make certain throws, and he doesn't make them. Some of the interception, I was like, bro, you have an opportunity. You just got a forced fumble from Matt Stafford, and the first play you throw an INT. Come on, man. That's Monday Night Football classic right there. So, man, just utter garbage. And completion-wise, 22 of 32, that doesn't look too bad on paper. But if you watch the game, it was awful.
Eli Manning is in the conversation for the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
I don't think as a football fan I would have ever said that. I mean, Eli's been bad in his career in moments, but arguably the worst quarterback in the league. That's talking about being almost as bad as Blake Bortles.
Wow. The Blake Bortles argument. We got some comparisons in the chat. You want to hear a couple of these?
Go ahead.
Predator says, Eli sucks donkey nuts. That's a good line. I might have to keep that one. I might put that as a t-shirt. TMB says, Blake Bortles over Eli. Oh, there you go. OMG, WTF was this Giants team. 0-16, Kaiser over Eli. No. I won't go too far. I won't go that
I think Kaiser's better.
Really? Now, I didn't get to see him much in the second game. He wasn't non-existent second game, but he did play better against the Steelers.
The question is, Carson Palmer or Eli Manning?
That might be a topic where philosophers think about for decades.
But bro, his release, his throw power is done. It's shot. He has no arm.
Honestly, I think this is the guy I expected Big Ben to be this season. But it's turned into Eli. It's terrible.
No, I saw it last year from Eli. I thought the Giants would be a good team, and I'll be the first to say that. I thought they would be a good team. And I didn't think Eli would be the reason why they were good. Okay? But I didn't think Eli would be the reason they were bad. I thought Eli would be bad, but not this bad. If you know what I mean. Because last year I saw him make some plays in moments, but also have terrible, terrible performances. We saw this last year from Eli. Not as bad, but still, we saw this from Eli last year. And the team was able to get over it. But now the offensive line, that's awful, can't block a soul, can't block Dylan off the edge. Okay? And now coupled with Eli, and the way he's playing, you have the return of Superman himself, even though he was gimpy and couldn't run, which you could clearly tell if you watched the game. OBJ, bro, sit out. Your team's going to go 0-16 without you, but it's all good. Sit out, okay?
Get that contract.
Make your money, get your contract, and just wait for a better freaking quarterback. Do you think that the Giants will pull Eli if they continue to lose? Do you think that they go to Geno Smith?
Geno is their backup. Holy shnikes.
Because Geno is actually playing well in the preseason. Now, I know that's preseason, but he does look like a new man.
What are their? I want to see their next. Okay, let me look at their schedule. Oh shit, they're screwed. They're screwed. They're playing the Eagles next week in Philadelphia. That offensive line will get killed. They play the Buccaneers.
They're not going to score a point.
They play the Buccaneers the week after that. They're fucked. They play the Chargers the week after that. They play the Broncos the week after that. They play the Seahawks the week after that. This team's screwed. Okay, I know the Seahawks are kind of offensive line is trash, but their defense is really solid. And they're going to have to force pressure on that? No. Honestly, past those games, I could see Geno playing. I could see him playing against the Rams later on in the season. That's in November. If Eli continues to play this poorly against some of these teams and not being able to step up and make big plays, especially after that Broncos game on Sunday night later on in the year, I could definitely see it. Okay. I'm just saying.
Let's go over the stats.
All right. Okay. These great stats for the receivers tonight. Yes.
Let's start with the winning team. This is shocking, okay? Matt Stafford, who, yes, yesterday night, I ranked him as the third best quarterback in the league. At me, bro. At Mitch Milani on Twitter if you have an issue with that. He only threw for 122 yards in this game, but they won by 2 touchdowns. You know what that says to me? Not only are the Giants absolute dog shit, but the second thing that says to me is that the Lions actually have a decent team around their quarterback.
I would agree. Their defense stepped up huge tonight, even with the bad play of the Giants.
Yeah, especially their D-line, which we'll get to. But Matt Stafford, 15 for 21, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very efficient. Didn't have to do a lot, but made some plays when he needed to. Made a nice throw to Marvin Jones. Made a couple nice throws on the run. There was an early 3rd down and 9 where he escaped and ran for the first down. There were some nice plays that he made in this game, but he didn't have to win it like every other week. Like last week, he had to win that game for them. This week, it was nice to see the Lions actually win a game without Matthew Stafford having to do everything, right? So how did you feel about Matt Stafford's performance tonight?
I mean, it was efficient. It was the better example of Blake Bortles in week 1. Blake Bortles was playing a shit team. I get that. And Blake Bortles is trash. But 15 to 21, it doesn't look impressive.
Why you got to take a dig at old Blakey?
Blake Bortles is garbage. I've always thought he was garbage. This guy is terrible. Like, I don't even know if he was qualified to be a starting quarterback. I think you have to have a license and, like, he stole it or something. I don't know. He's terrible. But back to Matthew Stafford, the GOAT. He didn't have to do much tonight, like you said. This is not the guy that I usually see. Last week, I don't know how many times did he throw the ball last week. I want to know
a lot.
Exactly. Let me pick. I got ESPN right here. I want to see how many times Mr. Matthew Stafford had to throw the ball last week. Had to throw the rock. He threw it 41 times. So they decreased it by 20 this week, which is not going to happen. Almost 20. That's not going to happen every week, of course, but if you do that in that scenario, it shows me that the defense stepped up this week. They put a lot more pressure. And here's a key thing. They had a running game this week. They actually did something with
especially late. Like when this was the impressive part about the Lions. When they needed to run the ball, they ran the ball. They weren't great early in the game, but later in the game when they needed to solidify their win and pull it out, they were able to do that. So that's good.
And that's very good for this Lions team. They're going to continue to play against some of the better teams in the league and try to make a run for it, or at least make a good run for a playoff position. They're going to need it. And Matthew Stafford, I like you said, he made good plays, but he didn't have to lead this team to Aaron Rodgers-like authority. And that's good to see out of this Detroit team.
Running the football, like you mentioned, Amir Abdullah had 17 rushes for 86 yards,
Good for him.
5.1 yards per carry, and had one 34-yard run. So that obviously helped. But so when they were able to, when they needed to run, they were able to run, and that was good. Matt Stafford had 3 carries for 23 yards. Theo Riddick had 9 for 20, which was, I believe, 9 more than last week. I don't know if he even had a carry last week.
I think he had 1 carry. 1 carry.
Dwayne Washington had 3 rushes for 9 yards. Receiving game wise, or first off, let's talk about the running backs. What do you think of Abdullah in this game? Because Riddick doesn't really count as running back. So what do you think of Abdullah?
I would like to thank Abdullah first off because I benched him in fantasy week 2 and I put him in for Paul fucking Perkins. So both of y'all suck for different reasons. Second, I was impressed because Amir Abdullah has been kind of this guy that has seen some good touches. He's had a couple of good runs throughout I think this is his 3rd season, but he's either been injured a lot or hasn't been able to get it done. And he grinded today. He was John Gruden's grinder today because he put in the work. He's like, man, I got to make these 3rd down runs. I got to make the big plays. He had a couple of long runs. The 34 long one was obviously the biggest run, but he made a couple of flashy runs to the outside, got enough yards to make it a 1st down. Like it'd be a 2nd and 4. He would get these rushes that normally Amir hasn't been doing in the NFL. So I want to be he's like one of my sneaky, dark horse guys maybe in the next coming weeks I want to see more of. But as far as tonight goes, against a defense that has been pretty good, they've been giving up quite a decent amount of points. They still know what to do on the running side.
I mean, for as bad as the Giants' offense has been, I don't think 24 and 19 points is all that bad, to be honest. Well, they only gave up 17 points?
What are you talking about? When it was 24 and 19, they're the two.
They gave up 17 points defensively because they gave up a interception or fumble. Interception, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, wait. Defensively they gave up the punt return earlier on. So that's
special teams. Okay, yeah.
So that's 17 and 19, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so that's not bad considering how bad their offense has been.
Yeah. I mean, given credit for where they're doing, Amir Abdullah still was able to make a good couple enough plays to get the 4 yards because his coach always says, 3.3 yards or more. 3 times will get you the 1st down. So he did enough. He averaged 5.1.
Well, speaking of the receivers, Eric Ebron, 5 catches, 42 yards, 1 touchdown. Nice to see him involved in the game. Last week, kind of taken out of it by the Cardinals, who have been good against tight ends. But Eric Ebron, nice to see him. He has a lot of ability, and it's going to be interesting to see if they involve him a little bit more. But the thing I like about the Lions is they don't necessarily have one receiver that they necessarily need to go to. Usually it's Golden Tate, but he only had 4 catches in this game. A lot of that had to do with, the corners for the Giants and that. But it's nice to see all their different targets get involved, like Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, Eric Ebron, Theo Riddick, Kenny Golladay. All these guys got involved in the game, and that was nice to see. Marvin Jones also had the other touchdown early in the game, which was a nice catch one-on-one on Eli Apple. Defensively for the Detroit Lions, of course, Darius Slay in the secondary played a good game, had 8 tackles in this one, and had some good coverage. Ezekiel Ansah had 3 sacks, which is something that we would like to see, please. Last year, he didn't show up. He was not a premier pass rusher. This year, he's back. He's healthy, and he's playing a lot better.
More sacks. He got more sacks tonight than he had all last season.
Yeah, so that's great. An interception for Tahir Whitehead, as well as the rookie Davis. So Davis has actually been really good the first 2 weeks, so it's looking like a good pick so far. Who else? Glover Quinn had another quiet performance with 6 tackles, but he's a pretty solid player for them. Quentin Diggs was okay in this game, I thought. Haloti Ngata also had a sack, and that's pretty much it. What did you think of the defense? Any standout performers for you?
For the defense, Darius Slay has always been one of their best players for the last couple of years. I always like seeing what he's going to do. I thought the bigger matchup, like Gruden brought up, was going to be him versus OBJ. It didn't really become that way, but if you look at it from Darius' standpoint, he held him to only 4 receptions. I think he was on him for most of the night. So that's good to see. I thought Diggs had a good game. He had that big stop on Shane Vereen on 4th down, about 10 minutes left in the game. That was a good stop. Glover Quinn, I thought was good. And, of course, good to see Ansah finally getting some sacks. He got one more sack than he had all last year in one game. So think about it that way. But this is a guy that 2 years ago, I think, was in double-digit sacks, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Yeah, he's been one of the leading sack leaders, I think, in 2014 and 2015. He was up there.
So it was kind of sad to see last year's downfall, and then now 3 sacks in this game. I mean, yes, give some of the credit back to the offensive line of how trash they are, but you still get 3 sacks in the NFL game. I'm gonna give you credit. So I think those were some of the standouts. I like what I saw out of the defense. I like the hustle that this team gave, I should say. And considering that I haven't been the biggest fan of their defense besides Darius Slay for a while, seeing this kind of game is impressive.
Yeah, I think they definitely are. They're a lot more explosive in the front. They're a better pass rushing team, and that's what we've seen the first 2 weeks, not only against the Giants this week, but against the Cardinals. When they needed to get some stops in the passing game, they were able to do that because their pass rush was ferocious. Darius Slay's an elite corner. Their linebackers with Gerard Davis and Tahir Whitehead are pretty underrated. They have a couple decent safeties in there. So I think overall, like, they've improved their defense from last year. They're a little bit better, and they're more capable of making some stops just based off a little bit more talent alone. So before we get to the Giants stats and, Eli and all that, let's go to the comments, Dylan.
The comments, yes, they've been beaming us up for a little bit. Let's see here. Where was the last one I left? Oh, some of them are getting more Eli comparisons. Brock over Eli. Let's not go too far.
No, I'm still taking Eli there.
Lamar Jackson over Eli. Now that one's funny.
I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
No one thought the Lions were going to win. I picked the Lions, so thank you very much.
I should have, but I basically did because I did bet on them. So but yeah.
And you also did say if OBJ played, that the Giants were going to win. So he did play.
That's true. But you know what the Giants pick was for me? It was that pick where I was like, I don't want to give up on this team yet because I thought they'd be good pick.
Yeah. I feel you. I did the exact opposite with the Rams, and I got an L this week. But I know you're feeling. I had that before. By the way, predictions standings. We have a 3-way tie for second. Anthony is 1 game ahead of everybody. Me, Mitch, and Adam are in second because he had a standout week, and Kevil is in last place. So yeah, there you go. You can get your win right now. You were 14-2. That's impressive. If I had not picked the Vikings without Sam Bradford, I would have been 13-3. Whatever. Giants need.
Yeah, well, you didn't let me change my Lions pick.
That's true. That would have then we would have just swapped a victory right there. So
yeah. Okay. Any other comments? Go.
There's a couple more. Eli will get decapitated against the Eagles. I 100% agree there.
No, I'm going to be surprised if they score 1 point.
I'm
serious.
I'll give them 3.
Okay, maybe a field goal.
I just want them to be nice. Like, maybe they get good field position off a punt return or a kick return. So I'm going to give them 3 points.
Maybe they'll get a pick 6.
Oh, there you go. Matchup of the year will be Eli versus the Cowboys D-backs. Now, I want to see this again. Yes. Some predictions here. Bold prediction, Matthew Stafford wins the MVP. 2 weeks throughout the year.
I agree. I tweeted it.
2 weeks in, he is the MVP. I'm just pointing that out.
I would say Kareem Hunt is.
Okay, so number 2 would be Matthew Stafford. Yeah, I forgot about that. Let's go to the other side. Let's go to the Giants.
Okay. Eli Manning, 22 for 32, as you brought up not long ago. 239 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 5 sacks. That doesn't look so bad on paper. But if you looked at those 10 incompletions and that interception, it was pretty bad. He missed a bunch of receivers, like open receivers. He threw some crazy duck passes. Even some of the ones that were complete were just short dump-offs. Nothing was impressive about Eli's game today. Not one single thing.
Hey, I saw this video of John Gruden. They did an animation for him, and he's like, you know what I really hate in the NFL? Bubble screens. And this is what Eli loves to do in certain points. Let's throw to Shane Vereen. Shane Vereen, you got me. You got me.
Hey, I like when bubble screens work for the Patriots. So
oh, they always work. But the thing here is that was like 5 of his completions, honestly. So let's see. Vereen had 3 catches. Paul Perkins had 2. Orleans Darkwa. So 6 of his completions were to running backs, and I guarantee you they weren't over the line of scrimmage. So with that in mind, that's about 16 to 26. When you look at the bad stuff, the incompletions, like you said, they were terrible. Okay, OBJ had a drop. That's not his fault. Brandon Marshall had a drop. That could have changed the game had he caught that ball. Very disappointed to see, but very disappointed to see him. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the rest of those 8 incompletions, along with the interception, were awful. Why throw it so high up in the air for Brandon Marshall when you have 2-on-1 coverage in the end zone? That makes no sense to me. He should be a smarter thrower. And then, like you said, the zip on some of these deep passes, it's non-existent. It's like, let's throw a rainbow and see if we can catch it, because I know how to throw 30 yards. What? It was not impressive. It was quite ugly, honestly. And I flipped back and forth on the TV to watch Monday Night Snooze Fest and this football game, and I was like, man, which one is worse? Because this guy just does not know how to throw completions at certain points. He can throw 5-yard passes like a beauty.
Definitely worse.
He can throw 5-yard passes like a beauty. I mean, a beauty. But
I did think Evan Ingram had a nice game today.
He did. He had that one great touchdown catch.
4 catches, 49 yards, a touchdown. He was one of the only explosive players they had. I mean, he was one of the only positives.
Look at their big 3, right? Their big 3 receiver core. Odell Beckham, 4 catches for 36 yards, but not one of those were all that memorable. And the first catch he had was for 3 yards. That was the first big reception of the season. Sterling Shepard, 2 catches, 23 yards. Brandon Marshall, 1 catch for 17 yards. Your big 3 receivers that we were talking about was probably either number 1 or number 2 receiver core in the league. Did nothing. And I get Eli Manning is part of the problem, but
Eli, the offensive line. But do we think Brandon Marshall is old?
I think he's diminishing in quality. Because they brought this up as a stat. He had 107 receptions in 2015. 2016, he had 57. And I get it. He's playing for a Jets team, so some of that falls on.
Yeah, we kind of give him a pass on that.
Yeah. So we didn't really, coming into this season, we're thinking, well, he's finally got a good quarterback. He can finally make a playoff.
But he doesn't. It's the Marshall curse. No quarterback.
Man,
no quarterback allowed.
I just want to give that man a hug. Honestly, I feel bad for the guy. He's so close to being a Hall of Famer, but
he'll be a good analyst. Don't worry.
Yeah, but the rest of them, they got Randy Moss. That's the second best receiver of all time. I just gotta give that guy a hug. He's made the Pro Bowl with 4 different teams. No other player in the NFL can say that in history, and yet he hasn't won a playoff game. It's so depressing. Yeah.
So who'd you think was good on defense?
Okay, well, defense was good for the most part. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie played a good game for the most part. Landon Collins always stands out.
He made one really nice stop on a third or second down on the 5-yard line.
I like that. Landon Collins has been ever since last season. I've been wanting to.
Landon Collins is the best safety in run support for sure.
Yeah,
he might even be the best safety in the league, but he's definitely the best against the run.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
That's true. One guy I wanted to look for because Janoris Jenkins was out tonight was Eli Apple, and I would say he played a pretty subpar game. C-.
Let up the touchdown.
Yep. I was like, I know he's not going to be as good, but I want to see if he can fill in, considering he has gotten some touches. Not the case. Kennard, thought was decent, and Olivier Vernon. I almost forgot about JPP.
JPP has actually been pretty good. He looked better in preseason, and I think it's kind of transferred to regular season. But I just think like they need more productivity in terms of sacks. Like I know that it's not all about sacks, but you need more productivity from these high-paid defensive ends. That's not Damon Harrison's like job. That's Vernon and that's Pierre-Paul. They need to get after the quarterback a little bit better, especially when you're playing Matt Stafford. I know their defense only let him throw for 122 yards. Like I'm not saying they played bad because they played good, but you need to like I want to start seeing these numbers from these players.
Well, and look, they got 3 sacks, but they only got loss of 3 yards on each sack. So that's telling me Matthew Stafford's running out of the pocket, and one of those was a forced fumble, right? Matthew Stafford or Eli Manning got sacked 5 times for 31 negative yards. So Eli's obviously, 1, not making any separation for himself trying to run, and 2, his offensive line is shit. So, but I agree. They need to stand out more in terms of putting up some of these numbers because in terms of standouts, I think Cromartie probably had the best stats, and they're like not eye-popping. You know what I mean? Not eye-popping.
Kev, the biased Seahawks fan, says, no, he's not. Earl Thomas is better. Collins is second.
Kevin Olenek. Let's talk, buddy. You picked the Cardinals, okay? No,
you picked the Colts. You keep messing that up.
All right, well, I'm sorry. You picked the Colts. And then he's going to tell, they almost won. They almost won. But they didn't. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think Collins is the best.
Any final thoughts about this game and heading forward? Who do the Giants play next?
The Giants will be playing the Eagles at Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
So I know exactly who I'm picking for that game. Here's the thing. Detroit, I really want to see next week's game. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons.
It's at home.
That's at home. That's going to be favorable. The Falcons are favored 3.5 points on the spread. So I think it should be an interesting game. I think both teams really need to stand out. They're 2-0, and they played some interesting games. Falcons played that really boring game against the.
They almost won. They almost won.
No.
Who is this guy?
Who's this go? Oh, and he just gets out of here.
Get him out of here.
So before I was rudely interrupted, I want to see, the Falcons played the Bears, and then they played a Packers team that I think has a really shitty defense. By the way, you can check out Should the Packers RELAX on the channel. New video. And then the Lions,
they've lost one game to the NFC champions.
Bro, it's stats, man. 4-4, 3-3, 1-2, 1-2. 2-3 and 4.
I haven't watched the video yet. I've only seen the first 5 seconds where you play the clip. So check that out. Check that video out.
Check it out. The stats have proven 6 of the last 8 seasons they've had a losing or 500 record through a certain extended period of time, and then they finish way better at the end of the season. You stay tuned. But the Lions, they played the Cardinals, which we have grown to see as one of the worst teams in the football league. And the New York Giants. So, I don't know. We'll see. I think that should be their highlight next week. The Giants go back to the drawing board and go back to 2007 because this team has nothing on its side. It doesn't have a good quarterback on its side. It has good receivers on its side, but much like in the same way as it has been before, you can't have good receivers if you don't have a good quarterback. So, much is life. And the offensive line, I think the Seattle Seahawks went in and impersonated as the Giants O-line because they were terrible. So, Eric Flowers, get you some balls, get back in the game, put in the effort because you were a first-round pick. I want to see some production out of that. And the defense, keep doing what you're doing. Honestly, you're not playing a bad game at all. So, but I think it's going to be a miserable time for the Giants the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, I can't stop. I'm done. I've stopped believing in the Giants. I can't watch Eli Manning and say this team's going to be good.
Nope.
I can't watch Eli Manning and say this team is going to be competent. So let's wrap it up like this. Like I started the video, Eli Manning is done. Eli Manning needs to retire. The Giants have 2 fatal flaws. The offensive line is garbage.
Yes.
And the quarterback is one of the worst in the NFL. Eli, R-E-T-I-R-E, retire. Thank you. It's the bottom line view. Mitch, Dilly Vanilli. If you enjoyed this video, like it. Subscribe if you're new for more NFL content. Tomorrow, in terms of the NFL, we're going to have an NFL recap of the week. So hopefully it won't be like nearly 2 hours like it was last time. But we'll do a recap in depth about every game that we saw and all the stats and all the players and all that stuff and all the highlights. So make sure you tune into that tomorrow. But if you haven't already, again, subscribe to the channel, guys.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. It's Mitch, Dilly Vanilli. Watch the Raw review. Peace.